Hey guys, BattleNos here, back on our Arma Reforger video. This time in the editor, no combat, no gunfire. Thank the Lord. No crazy shenanigans or anything like that. Just some useful tips and tricks that I'd like to uh, share with new players that are starting to get part of these game modes and stuff like that. One thing I want to touch up on first is before anyone has their opinions about how I build my FOBs and such. Keep in mind, Arma, like an Arma Reforger, it's not what it used to be, in Arma 3. But in Arma Reforger, it's more orientated towards kind of squad with like the conflict game modes and stuff like that. But you just have the freedom to rock whatever you want, and you just have a ranking system instead of slots that fill up and that if they're full, you can't use them. So it's a little more kind of towards squad in the aspect of the objectives, how you should build FOBs and such. So today I'm going to basically show you how to essentially make FOBs in Armor Forger, make them efficiently, and how to make a good FOB that will last a long time, especially if you have the numbers to man the said FOB. Now, for the new players who may not know the terminologies, what an FOB is an FOB is called a field operating base or a forward operating base. It might be forward. I think it's forward. I don't think it's field. It could be either or. They could have changed it. I'm not sure. But it's either one of the two. And essentially, it is a base or one of your points of or objectives in the conflict modes that you play that you have to essentially build up and defend and get supplies to and all that jazz. So how you should build cover in your FOBs should be your FOBs need cover placed, right? So like these sandbag, like you're not gonna really have access to a lot of these in the actual game mode itself because I'm in the editor. But for example, these sandbags, these are perfect for stopping, rounds, 30 mil rounds, whatever, right? It might change in the future, but for now, that is how it is, right? So you're going to want to place down a lot of these. So how I would place them is, let's say that you need, we're in this tree line here, and we need some cover orientated that way. Now, it's just an airfield, but let's say we're in this tree line here, and we need some cover. We have an objective. What I'm going to do is instead of here, I'll just do it out in the open so that way it actually works. Sometimes like it's going to get a little tight what you have to do. In some servers you can actually get rid of the trees with shovels and shit, which is actually pretty cool. You can actually get rid of all this shit if you wanted to and create, a big FOB that you can put defensive positions down, the trees won't get in the way, etc. Because I can do this in the editor, but you won't be able to do that in the actual game when you're playing an online game such as the conflict modes, etc. So I'm going to start off with making my cover. So like let's say we need a defensive position towards the military site. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my front cover here. And what I like to do is I like to least stagger these. So you have a solid sandbag and a sandbag with a hole in it. So if you put a bunch of sandbags in a row that have the hole in it, the odds of them landing a 30 millimeter high explosive shot through that, or getting a tank round through it, or even shooting someone as they're walking along, is going to be significantly higher. Yes, you will have more viewpoints, but there's also more shit that can get in through your cover. So you have to think about that in that sort of light. That's why I try to stagger these out the best I can. So we're going to do that here. We're going to place down these. And then let's say I also want like a wraparound, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, and actually I'm going to put a corner one, or one with a hole here on the corner. So that way there's no blind spot, right? So that way the enemy does not have a blind spot. Well, no, actually this is what we'll do. We will we will do this right here, right? We'll do that so that way, it's not too much. And then what we will do is right here, because this is going to be the position that pops out. So we will do that right there. Now, granted, you don't have to really go this crazy with it, but you generally want it sealed. You do not want any holes in your cover. You don't want any projectiles, bullets, anything getting in there. If someone hides behind that, you want them to be able to trust it. You don't want people questioning their cover if they were trying to defend a position, um, especially a position with absolutely just no cover. It will not go well. So, as you can see here, we got a little bit of a trench, or not like a trench, but a wall going here. And the idea of this, and this is one thing too. You do not want to just create one wall, and I will tell you why here. Because let's say, and that, and this is what I'm gonna get into showing you guys here. So let's say, right, is I need to do at least that thickness. You want to at least stick it around, like, keep it around that thick for the trench, right? And you just want to basically keep going. Now, generally speaking, you want to try to have openings in places. So we're going to delete that one and have an opening there. And you want to keep your openings on a solid wall. You do not want someone to be able to look down a hole and see, like right here, they almost can get a peek through there. And right here, they kind of can get a peek on that. But that's a really difficult peek. That's like a siege peek. But you do not want them to be able to look straight down whatever corridor you're going to have. So, like, for example, right here, this is going to go like this and start creating another trench system going this way. And I'm also going to put a break right here. Now, granted, I'm just, my OCD is kicking in. You don't have to be that super accurate as long as the sandbags, like I said earlier, connect. You'll be good to go. Um, so we're going to keep going with the trench system here. Now, usually these sandbags on the inside, you would want to keep, basically uh, the solid ones. So that way, if anything does come through, because this is going to have layers, right? So right in here is also going to be a trench that is going to connect and start thinning out, right? So right here, we have a trench. Started right here. So right here we got that. Then we're going to keep going with this trench. And the sandbags really don't, they barely take up any of the build power that your points have, from what I've noticed. So it's not like if you see a fuck ton of, like, or a crap ton of sandbags, you're not going, like, it. it's not like crazy on the FOB. Like you can still get a decent amount of like arsenals down and all that jazz, which I'll get into in a second here. But my FOB building's kind of falling apart right now. So it's a little bit thinner on this side. It kind of widens out, but generally speaking, you want to keep them around this thickness. Now, this is going to be a multi-trench system. So right here, I'm actually going to do that. And then we're going to get our other one connected. Have it start. Like I said, you generally want to keep these solid, but let's say you want to get creative, right? And you want to make it so that way you know that the enemy is most likely, for example, going to hop on this side of your or this side of your walls and make your way down this corridor. What you can do is at the end of the corridor, place a shoot hole, and then make sure that this position is trenched off. So like we have this trench system. And then we'll have an opening here for another trench till I go further into the FOB. And then right here as well, we will have another opening trench. So this is how your trenches should be. You should have fighting positions like this. You should get used to creating squares like this. That way when we get mortars in the game, you have a mortar pit at your FOB that is defendable, and it's not just going to get rained to hell, right? You wouldn't want it this close to the outside wall. You'd want it more interior with a little bit more protection. So essentially, right, what we have created is a multi-layer cover system that we have one line of trench that we can defend from. And then if they start shooting 30 mils at this wall through the holes or whatever, you have retreat cover points that you can get to. And then down here, if they try coming down this corridor thinking they're going to get an easy shot into your FOB, you can light them up through the shoot hole. You know, so there's plenty of ways to create FOBs. The main way that I see people create FOBs is let's try that. Nope, it's still there. We go. Okay. All right. So yeah, the main way I see people build FOBs is they'll just, you know, oh, that looks good. You know what I mean? And people need to stop doing this because what it does later on is when the enemy attacks your position, you have no defenses. There, everything's so combobulated that it won't work. For example, like let's say that was our cover, right? In order to get our resupply, they got to drop off by these crates to get resupply. So let's say this is a road right here, a road that we need to defend that the FOB is in the middle of, right? They'll be able to drop off their supplies and be able to give us more supplies to build or whatever we need for ammo and whatnot. And on top of that, if you put these points, these things, by areas where trucks can get to, that would be crucial for your supply intake at the FOB. Your supplies need to be able to run smoothly through the FOB and out, so that way it's a rotating cycle and nothing's getting hung up in the middle of a firefight or whatever. Because delivering supplies in the middle of a firefight is always a nightmare. Okay, especially by helicopter. But as I'm getting into helicopters, you're going to want to put cover around your helipad. Now, you are going to want to put a trench system like this, but it only can be one layer around the helipad. You don't want to go crazy around the helipad. Just only put one layer of trench around the helipad to give it cover, and so that way the helicopters can actually land. You want to give enough room to where, if they're just not as stable landing that time, they can land successfully and get the supplies to you guys. And you can even go as far as, if the helipad is getting full of supplies, you can even put these around it, like so. Have an area for their tail to go. Don't encase it all the way, so they can actually land one way with their tail not hitting anything. And then you would build your trenches around these, essentially. And then if you wanted to get one of those little vehicle depots up, you put one here. And honestly, you kind of want to do it like that. So that way, like I said, that supply area is very easily accessed. Now, let's say this is a road that connected right here and went in. The truck could literally just come in, go like this, turn around, and then just head back out. It's very important to get these cover pieces up. You want to make sure you get cover up at the FOBs. If there's no cover at the FOBs, it is an absolute nightmare to defend. With that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. If you learned anything from it, like, comment, subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot. If you guys are interested in more Arma Reforger videos, definitely let me know. I'm going to be posting them a decent amount here around when I can. Hopefully some more flight ones. That'd be pretty dope. Flight stuff has been very finicky, so hopefully we get some more of those videos out for you guys. But without further ado, I'm going to get out of here. Let y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.